Okay, chapter 4, day 3. What we're going to focus on today is how do we use function notation. And this, I think, is a little bit new to us as well. It's just a way to use some notation around functions. All right? We use letters like F. Sometimes we might use G or H, but F is the most common one to represent functions. All right? So this notation right here, F with X in parentheses next to it, doesn't mean F times X. It's just a notation that we use. We read this as F of X, the F of X. It represents the value of a function when X is substituted in to that function. All right? F of X. So instead of writing y equals, we now write f of x equals. All right? They're both referring to a function, but instead of putting the letter y there, we put f of x. Think f of x is like the same thing as y, but it's just a different way to write it. So if I have y equals 2x plus 3, I can also write it as f of x equals 2x plus 3. It's just a different notation that we're using. All right? So if I write f of 5, that means what is the value of this function when 5 is plugged in for x? F of 5. So instead of writing a y equals equation and substituting, saying I'm going to write a y equals equation, then I'm going to substitute in 5 for x, we just say what is the f of 5? That means plug 5 in for x. So it's just a shorthand notation to replace all the words that we would say instead. So f of 5, plug in 5 for x. So the f of 5 then is 2 times 5, which is 10, plus 3 more, which is 13. And so if someone says, what's the f of 5? The f of 5 is 13. It's evaluating the function when x is equal to 5. And so wherever x is, you would put a 5. Find the f of 7. Same thing. Put a 7 in now. And the f of 7 would equal 7 times 2 is 14, plus 3 more is 17. You always have to show your substitution. Okay? So that's how we evaluate functions. We plug in the values. We read it, f of 5, f of 7, f of x. All right? Graphically, let's look at this graphically for a second. If you are given a y equals equation, we can graph it, all right? It's also the same as, I could rewrite this instead as the f of x equals 2x plus 3. That's a function, okay? Find the f of negative 2. Well, graphically, the f of negative 2, well, on a graph, to find f of negative 2, just see what the graph's y value is when x is negative 2. See what the graph's y value is when x is negative 2. And so graphically, I just look over. If I'm at negative 2, well, here's a point. That point is negative 2 comma negative 1. So what is the y value when x is negative 2? The y value is negative 1. So the f of negative 2 then equals negative 1. What if I said find the f of 0? F of 0 would be 3. The f of negative 1 would be 1. Graphically, you just look at what the y value is when the x value takes on this amount. And that's function notation. We're just going to use function notation next class.